All right. Welcome, everybody. Today is August 18th already, and this is a meeting of the School Building Committee for Peaslee School. Thanks, everyone, for hopping on. We're joined tonight, in addition to our committee members, by PMA and some members of PMA who are working on our design RFS, which is what we will discuss tonight. So I'll call this meeting to order at 7:06. And our first order of business on our agenda is to approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting, which took place on June 26th. I would entertain a motion.
Kelly Gannett makes a motion to approve.
I second the motion.
Thank you. There's been a motion and second to approve the minutes from June 26th. Is there any discussion? And hearing none, we'll vote by voice vote, roll call. Kelly Gannett,
Yes.
Lauren Bailey,
Yes.
Sean Durkin has not joined yet. Diana Nicholas,
Yes.
Kevin Wersch,
Yes.
Robert Tomasetti,
Yes.
Tristan Bezant,
Yes.
Erica Hall says yes. Motion carries. We have a timeline update, and I'd like to turn it over to PMA to run through what has taken place between June 26th and today, and also some of the next steps to frame the conversation for the next item when we talk about the RFS. So I'll turn it to PMA.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be talking with you all again. So just to bring you up to speed, since we've come on board, we've began work on the designer RFS that we circulated the final draft out to the committee. We submitted that to the MSBA for their initial review last Thursday. They have gotten back their comments to us already. We've incorporated most. We're waiting on a couple of details and plan on submitting that for their final submission tomorrow afternoon. The next steps after that, it picks up the pace. We will be planning on submitting advertisement to the Central Register this Thursday to go live next Wednesday. PMA will be taking care of the Central Register ad. We would just ask that the town takes care of the local paper ad, in which we'll send you the verbiage, so that way we're all on the same page. From there, the ad would go live on Wednesday, August 27th. That's when designers would be requesting the RFS, and we'd be getting the designer selection process in earnest. We do have a couple of dates between the designer RFS going live and the proposals being due, which is on September 24th, that we would like to discuss with the committee. One namely being the date of the designer briefing session for the school. We have it in the RFS right now as September 17th. That's a Wednesday at 10 a.m. If that did work for the school, we would keep it in. If it, for some reason, does not work, we can change that prior to submitting it back to the MSBA. But that's also something that we'd like to confirm prior to submission tomorrow.
Kevin, would you like to discuss that now? And is the superintendent's team prepared to discuss that date of September 17th? And how long would you need the facility for?
Typically they last about an hour. The designers and their teams come, they just review the facility, to take a tour. We ask that they submit all questions formally. One, so that way we don't miss anything, and two, it kind of streamlines the process so there's not a lot of people lingering around after the fact. So it would be roughly for about an hour. We would need the access to the facility.
So, so you would need access to Peaslee,
Yes.
and that's during school hours when kids are there.
We could go, if it works better for the town, we can schedule for after hours or off hours for the school. That's not a problem. It's just we have this window between the ad going live and proposals being due. So it's a really just like a month window of when we can fit this in.
Mary, do you want to weigh in?
Well, as a parent in school committee, just before Mary, I think she's trying to unmute. I know that I feel like families would be concerned because we don't know if these people are quarried and things like that coming into the buildings. I know this is for like the greater good, but I know families usually get a little uptight about stuff like that.
Yeah, they would be with adults at all times, so we wouldn't
Okay.
need to worry them.
Okay.
I'm just thinking, Mary, if we move that to 7:30 to 8:30 in the morning before the school day really picks.
I think that would be preferred, and the 17th seems to be clear for any events on that day, so it is a good date.
Kevin, would that be an option?
Absolutely. Whatever works best for the town and the school is
So if we
what I
say
wanted to confirm.
7:30 to 8:30,
Yeah, I can change that right now.
and Becky and Keith just connecting with you too.
Yep, and I can help facilitate that tour, Kevin. Mary, I'll work with you, make sure we're good to go. I'll connect with Bud as well.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments, any other feedback, or anyone else who participated with PMA or superintendent's office who have any comments or feedback on the timeline update? And I see a hand from Becky.
Yes, I just, Kevin, if you can send the ad to me so that I can have that published.
Yep,
Right, I'll
absolutely.
be the one. Okay, thank you.
And Diana.
I do have a couple questions about the RFS. Is this an okay time to bring this up?
You are jumped ahead, so
Then I will wait.
okay, yes. Anything else on general timeline, MSBA? All right. Hearing none, thank you for the update and for all of your work so far. And then we'll move to item 4. Diana's chomping at the bit for item 4, and it is in fact the meat of our meeting. So you have received the request for services, the RFS for designer services, which has been prepared by PMA with support by superintendent's office. And so the purpose of tonight is to look at this document together and solicit feedback. We do have some particularly knowledgeable members of this committee, so we would welcome some discussion. And as a reminder, this is a document that has been before the MSBA and is scheduled to be submitted tomorrow in keeping with the ad deadline. So ready to entertain any comments. And Diana, this is your moment.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
My comments are very minor, very minor. One of the things that is listed that was also in the OPM RFQ that I believe does not apply to this project, to my knowledge, is that we are studying alternative sites outside of the Peaslee site itself. I think that should be removed because designers will spend time responding in narrative form to their experience in studying alternative sites if you leave it in the RFQ. So I would remove that. And my only other small comment is that I do not see a need for a theatrical consultant, nor do I see a need for a laboratory consultant in the elementary schools. That's all I had. I think it's a standard document. I think the edits that have been made make sense to me.
Thank you, Diana. Kelly.
What do you mean about theatrical? Do you mean like a theater?
So if you go to page 11,
Because I would love an auditorium or something like that. So I would definitely
you
like.
will have probably a cafetorium because the MSBA does not fund theater spaces until you get to the high school level. So for elementary schools, they will fund what's known as a cafetorium, which is in essence what Peaslee has now. So you have a stage that is part of the cafeteria. So they will fund that. So you don't need like most architects and all of the architects that design MSBA schools are very adept at designing those spaces. A theater consultant is somebody who's going to come in if you're designing like a high school auditorium that has, like all of the lighting and all of the high-tech sound systems that you have if you're doing, large scale productions. And so, you're looking at a really long list of consultants. And that's that's a very specialized consultant that's really not needed for these particular designers that we're requesting qualifications from. They all know how to design what's required for a cafetorium. That's my opinion.
So is that the only option? There's no option of getting, I know not through MSBA being 100% funded, but there's no other option to create funds and raise funds to have a potential auditorium. My thought is that the middle school does not have an auditorium or anything like that. The only one we have in the town of Northborough is at the high school, and it's stretched thin. And if we're creating a new facility and a new thing, I think that we should consider having an auditorium part of this build if it's possible, because then we can expand it for all of our schools to be using it and stuff.
So I can weigh in. I can weigh in if that's okay. So I
Please, go
agree.
ahead.
Dan, I agree with you. We don't need a theatrical consultant. It doesn't, not having a theatrical consultant, Kelly, does not preclude this building committee to consider other spaces, even though they're not reimbursed by MSBA, but that's outside. And I don't think
Okay.
I agree. We don't need those two consultants to move the work forward. And it doesn't preclude this committee from deciding what other spaces it might consider.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there any comment from PMA to add to any of that? Or is that? Yeah.
I had one question too around, and this is probably for PMA. What is MSBA's requirement for looking at alternative sites? I know, I guess I'll leave it at that question.
So we would do a feasibility study if there was other potential areas in town that could be used. And it would be part of the feasibility study from the designer. So we would have those discussions when the designer's on board. And then as for the previous conversation, I know that when we did build the previous middle school that we're actually just finishing up, the MSBA does not fund for a big stadium or whatever it was that Kelly that you had said, sorry. It would have to be a cafetorium and they would not reimburse if it's not that. But I can also ask the question and see maybe if there's been any changes since that. So I can reach.
Kristen?
Yeah, I'm glad Diana brought up that one because that was one of my questions too. I'm like, why are we studying alternative sites if really this is the site? Another question on some of the things that were struck out, just above that. Switch over to that. Under suitability of the current location for construction of a new building, and then it struck out a lot of that paragraph and for like final design program, space summary, budget statement, geotechnical, and on and on. Those seem to be things that would belong in the feasibility phase. Is there a reason that that is not included as part of the RFS?
I would have to take a look at what if it was struck out by us or by the MSBA for language. Can I get back to you on that one?
Yeah, it just seemed like there were some important deliverables or components there that we would want the designer to be looking at
Agreed, yeah.
during feasibility.
Kristen, could you provide a page reference?
So that is on page 7 of 12, and it's towards the bottom. It's kind of the last, it's the biggest paragraph, about fourth up from the bottom, that begins suitability of the current location for construction of a new building. And most of the paragraph is struck out with a little bit remaining, and those seem to be, talking about site development plans, things like that. So if we are considering a new build, those would all be important things to understand, the geotechnical aspects of the site, the suitability of the site for a new building, and where it's situated relative to, features of the site. One other question I had on same vein, same train of thought was, where did it go? Oh, it was in the box, the gray box at the top of the next page, which I know are suggestions. So top of page 8, they'd suggested some language towards where was it? Identification of community concerns that may impact study options. That seems to be important considering the size of this project, as well as the grade study configuration that we're asking for, which is going to involve a lot of feedback and input from the town, and understanding community concerns so that we can get this project through town meeting, through our vote, and get it approved. So I think that's important that the designer understand that they need to be going out and taking the temperature of the town and understanding the concerns and helping us get this project through.
Thank you, Tristan. So it sounds like an opportunity to add language at the top of page 8 to that effect is the suggestion, correct? Diana?
I just want to emphasize that it's not the designer's responsibility to get the town vote passed, and the MSBA will emphasize that as well. So we cannot expect the designer to be responsible for that. And actually, we can't expect PMA to be responsible for that either. So,
darn.
They might advise us on some things that have worked, but I think I just want to put that out there because that's not within the sort of services that these two professional entities provide. It's not something that they're able to deliver. But that's not to say we as a committee cannot work together to achieve what we think is best for the town. So I'm not trying to be negative, but
Understood.
We need to be realistic about our expectations. I think PMA will be great. I think we'll find a great designer, but
it's more, I think it's more calling attention to the fact that the designer needs to take into account, some of the environment of the town, people's concerns, things they would like to see in a school, so that when we bring this forward for a vote, that townspeople say, "Oh yeah, we talked about that. That I've been heard, my opinions have been considered, and we've designed a smart project that checks all the boxes."
agreed.
And we can definitely help and just show other things that we've done in other districts to help get the attention of the towns and districts in general. And so we wouldn't just let you guys fend for yourselves. We will definitely help out.
Thank you. Are there any other comments, or does PMA have any additional comments on agenda item 4 and the RFS that's to be submitted this week?
Erica, can I just make a
Yes.
quick comment? So when we were putting together the request for services for the OPM, the site visits was something that MSBA did ask us to include. And if I recall with the NERI project, I think we did have to look at multiple sites, even though we really were sure that that was the site that we were going to be using. So I think we need to keep that language in there as an option, because I believe that's part of the feasibility study that they have us do, even if, because they don't want us to rule out something already before we've even started the feasibility study. That's my recollection of that. I don't know if Keith or Greg, if you have a similar recollection.
No, that is what I recall. I think the thinking was when we go to town meeting and the question is asked, did we look at alternative sites? We had a response. So again, I would lean on PMA and MSBA's process and what they're expecting. But I do know for the NERI building project, that was something that MSBA expected out of the process.
And then I just had one other comment, and I don't know if I'm looking at a different document than everyone else, but under the project goals and general scope, that first paragraph.
What page, Becky?
I have it as 6 of 21.
Yep.
So it's the first paragraph and the last sentence. And Kevin, I know when you're doing these strike throughs, sometimes it's easy to kind of lose track of what the sentence. I feel like it may be, there may be some grammatical errors in there. The MSBA has not approved a project, and the result of this feasibility study may or may not result in approved. And then it says project approved by the MSBA. So I think that just needs to be wordsmithed.
Yeah, I actually think that was one of their corrections that I might have copied a word a couple of times. I'll take care of that.
I feel your pain, so.
And then Tristan, while I have the floor, kind of, I was able to go in and check on that omission of that language. It looked like it was a deletion made an error, so I went in and rejected that change, and that language is back in the scope now.
Thank
So
you.
that whole statement about the suitability of the current location, that whole scope is now in.
Great. One other question. This, and maybe it's contained in MSBA standard contract form, which are just referenced but not included here. This is for feasibility phase services only, correct? And if approved, then we would proceed to extend their contract through DDs, CDs, construction. But this piece that we're obligating ourselves to right now is just the feasibility study, correct?
Feasibility and schematic is how the MSBA breaks out the services for the designer. So it would be this portion of services would be through schematic design, and then once the funding agreement is put in place, an additional amendment for the rest of the services would be brought forth.
Thank you.
Further discussion or input on the RFS? Well, I have a question, which is that, are you looking for a formal vote to be taken by the committee on approval of RFS as discussed and revised? Or are you looking for a general discussion?
There was no vote needed for this deliverable, just general discussion, and then just taking into account, all the comments for tomorrow.
Thank you. and you have one other item you'll get from us, which is some enrollment numbers. But other than that, you're ready to launch.
Yep, we
Okay.
are good to go.
Thank you. So that being the case, PMA has reached out about the creation of a subcommittee for the designer selection. So hopefully when this document is launched, we'll have some excellent candidates, applicants, and there will be a selection process. So I would look to PMA on the guidelines for what the subcommittee, who needs to be on the subcommittee, and how many volunteers are you looking for? So I would turn it over to PMA to discuss that.
Yeah, so we need one committee member, 2 town representatives, procurement officer, I think Becky, that would be you, and then 1 person from PMA. And that will make up the committee.
All right, so we need 1 committee member, and then when you say town representatives, do you have a suggestion or recommendation? We have some town representatives on with us tonight.
So
If
the
you guys have-
MSBA has a prescribed for the 3 town members.
Yes.
For the designer selection committee, it's 1 member of the school committee or a designee, the superintendent of schools or a designee, and then the chief executive officer of the town or district or a designee. And that's per the MSBA's designer selection panel.
Okay.
Okay, I think Jason Little volunteered, the finance director in town.
Jason has kind of a half smile on his face. What does that mean,
Well,
Jason?
I haven't volunteered yet, but I am willing to help and would be I would be happy to serve in that role should I be appointed to it.
Sorry, Jason.
No, that's okay.
And then we have 2 members of our school committee here. Would it be appropriate for one of these members attending these this meeting to be a representative?
That should be.
Yes,
When
that typically works best.
Okay.
when is the meetings that we're talking about specifically? Is it the ones that are?
So-
we have, oh, go ahead, Kevin.
Sorry. So yeah, so this would be for the designer selection process. So the meetings would include reviewing the proposals from the designers once we receive them. That's on September 24th, and that's about a 1-week turnaround because the MSBA likes to have our findings by the 2nd of October, and then the next big meeting would be the target of November 4th, the designer selection panel interviews, in which the 3 appointed members would sit in on the interviews with the MSBA and deliberate the final designer selection.
Could I just ask a question, Kevin, around process? It is possible that an internal committee could do the first vetting, and then the 3 representatives sit on the MSBA panel and represent the vote of the larger committee. So it doesn't have to be both the same group who sits on the panel, although it would be helpful. So I just wanted to point that out. Is that accurate?
Yes.
I just think my only thing is just timing wise, like if it's during workday hours, because I know Lauren's a teacher. I teach Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so that's what I was just trying to figure out.
So what we can do is once we have chosen the committee, I can send out an email on different timelines that we have so that we can have these meetings and what times they would be at, and we can put them in your calendars after we decide once we have the committee. in place.
And it looks like that November 4th date, which is that's key, right? Because that's we're publishing that as an interview date. And it looks like that's a Tuesday. That would be a Tuesday evening interview.
Okay, so that's what I was saying. So they're evenings, not mornings or afternoons. These are all evenings? Or no, you're saying
They're board meetings. The
Yeah,
MSBA
typically
sets the
during the
date.
day.
the board meeting. Okay, gotcha.
Can I just, I think my rationale for saying that the committee could be different, the internal review, is because you want to maximize the expertise of members on this committee. The presenting to the MSB and representing this group is just relaying a message and having talking points and sharing the position of this group. So that, again, I would encourage the building committee to consider having people be presenting at the board, and then maybe a larger group going through the RFP process internally to weight our selections.
Thank you. So I'm understanding that on the 11-4 meeting, which is with the MSBA, we have to adhere to that structured list of representatives of our team. But in the intervening selection period, we could leverage some of our experts on our committee who are knowledgeable around design. And also we are not looking to have a full quorum, right? So we're watching our numbers on our subcommittee, right? That being said, is there anyone from the our committee who would be willing to step up and has interest in serving to help review the proposals that come forward and help with the interview and selection? Okay, I see two hands. I see Kevin and Tristan.
And what is our quorum number? So what are we trying to, what's our threshold?
So Becky, when we're in a full committee meeting, it's 5 of us. So on a subcommittee, you're muted, but on a subcommittee, yeah, what would we be targeting?
So there are 8 members on the committee, correct, in total?
Yeah.
So you would not want to have any more than 4. Correct, Greg?
You'd
9.
want 3.
Three.
There are 9 total.
9, including
9.
chair, yes.
Oh,
So no more than 4.
Okay, so 3 hands are up, Tristan, Diana, and Kevin. Karina, I'm going to ask you to advise in terms of a selection committee to run through the proposals. You have Tristan, Diana, and Kevin volunteering. Who else would you need?
So from PMA, I'll be representing PMA on that. And Becky, are you also going to be part of it as procurement?
So I will do that. I will be,
You'll do that, Greg. Okay.
unless Becky really is excited about the opportunity.
Becky's smiling a lot about not doing it, I think. So I think that's what that is. Okay. Thank you for thanks for that. So Karina, you'll do next steps of scheduling this and
Yeah, I
Okay.
will. So, and the list that I have is Kevin Worst. Am I sorry? I'm butchering that. Sorry. I also have Tristan, Diana, Greg, and myself. And I'll also put all of whatever meetings we have in our calendars and whatever time works best for everyone. So I'll work it out with everyone.
Thank you. All right, so from PMA specifically, do you require anything else of this committee concerning the next phase, the subcommittee, designer work?
Not right now, unless Brian, Ian, or Kevin, you guys can think of anything.
Okay, then I would close out agenda item number 5 with a thank you to everyone who participated and volunteered. In terms of new business, I just would like to have a conversation around, you know, the committee expectation and scheduling. So we're in August, OMG. But anyway, for Q3 and Q4, you know, what are the checkpoints? When would you like to convene the full committee? And can you put some stuff on our radar just for planning purposes? For PMA.
Can you say that again? Sorry, I missed.
For planning purposes, when do we need to convene the full committee again?
Can I get back to you on that
Yes.
tomorrow, Erica, once I have the schedule in place, because that'll let me know exactly. Once I've spoken to the committee, it'll give me a better understanding on time frame and when our next meeting should be.
Great, because then I'd love
You
to
need
get
any
those
Yeah.
in the calendar, so we're ready to go on those. At this time, is there any other new business that any questions or updates that any of our committee members have tonight? All right, quiet group. Everyone's in the calm before the storm, I guess, or maybe the storm actually has started at your places of work for those of you who are educators, and we thank you. Then thank you all for your participation tonight. I would entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Second.
Oh, second.
Has been moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. If there's no further discussion, we'll do a voice vote by roll call, starting with Kelly.
Yes.
Lauren,
Yes.
Sean. Sean is present. Sean is muted. Diana,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
and Erica says yes. So thank you all. Have a good rest of your week, and thanks for your time and participation tonight.
7:43 for the time.
And it's 7:43. Thank you, Kaylee. Or
Bye.
Stephanie. I can't, there's a voice.
Kelly, that was me. That was
It's
me.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, she's had to do minutes before. 7:43. Okay, thank you very much. Good night.
Bye, guys.